Did we expect anything less from Sam Pittman? This guy has done nothing wrong since he stepped on campus. Of course, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but certainly, my goodness, he can recruit too. So the 2022 class looking good for Arkansas football. 17th rated the nation according to 247 Sports. Here to break it all down for us, of course, our guy Ty Hudson from Pig Trail Network. Get on over there, Pig Trail Network, right here on YouTube to check out Ty's work. Hey, Ty, how's it going?
Yo, Mark, how you doing, man?
I'm good. What's going on today?
Matter of fact, that was my alarm. That was my alarm. Don't forget to go pick up the kids.
I'll pick up the kids. Tell those kids, so we got to talk some recruiting first.
Yeah, you have to call the school. Tell them, hey, look, we're talking Cruton over here on Mark Rogers' show. Yeah, it was a great class, Mark. They signed everyone they wanted. We're still waiting. We're kind of waiting on one prospect at the moment. We're not real. I mean, there's kind of rumors floating around. We may be waiting for a little bit for Rouser, 4-star safety out of Michigan. You and I had talked about him because it was a territory that Arkansas, it's kind of foreign area. That's a foreign, there's no pipeline from Fayetteville to Michigan. And I tried to think back, who's the last player they ever signed from Michigan? I really don't know. I couldn't even tell you. But a great pickup, commitment-wise. Doesn't look like they're going to sign him during the early signing period, which ends on the 17th. They're going to be shooting for February for the final signing period, if he signs with Arkansas at all.
All right, we were talking Arkansas's recruiting class. It is National Signing Day. Got Ty Hudson here from Pig Trail Network. 8th in the SEC. This is life in the SEC. I counted 9 of the top 20 in the nation, so that's what you got to live with. You got to recruit against the best. 17th at this point, 20 signed, so that's got to be close to the limit. Do we expect any others besides Rouser to possibly come in under the wire?
So we're going to, well, and by the time you record or put this, we'll know, but they're waiting on Welch, the 4-star corner who's committed to LSU. Last week, coming out of his visit, felt really good. I mean, this is a big-time prospect here. We're talking about a good 4-star get. Sounded like he could be a silent commit to the Hogs. That was definitely indicated to me that he's probably a silent commit at the moment. We still got to deal with this LSU visit. He goes on the visit. We all know Brian Kelly. He has the job at LSU, and he's, him in that fake Southern accent. I don't know if you've got a chance to catch that yet or not.
Oh yeah, many times.
Oh my gosh, how anyone falls for that is beyond me. But I know they're pretty excited down there about what he's doing recruiting wise, and it sounds like that visit went really well for Welch and LSU. So we'll find out today at 4 p.m. I'm leaning towards him staying home. It is so hard for Arkansas, for anybody, to go down to Louisiana and to take what they want out of a big-time prospect like someone like Welch. So don't see him being a Razorback. I hope I'm wrong. Of course, if I am wrong, I'm sure the comment section will let me have it. But I feel like he's an LSU lean at the moment. And then, like I said, Miles Rouser, who they're probably – I don't know what the deal is with him. There might be some off-the-field stuff. I'm not going to go down that tunnel, but – it sounds like he's if he does stick with Arkansas, clearly he's going to have to wait till February to sign. There are some people that I think pretty highly of in the recruiting circles, or people who've watched and analyzed recruiting for the state of Arkansas, who are saying he's not even coming. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going on with Rouser. But yeah, they good class, solid class on paper. Could go down as maybe one of their best classes they've ever signed, or it's definitely going to be in that category. But at the moment, yeah, they're only waiting on those two. There's also an Oklahoma a kid has been an Oklahoma lean for a while, and of course his name is slipping my mind now. He's been an Oklahoma lean. He's been committed to Oklahoma. He was recruited by Arkansas, and I apologize, but his name is slipping my mind. I hadn't even thought of him until he was supposed to sign today with OU, and then decided he's not going to – it doesn't sound like he's going to sign today. So
Gentry Williams?
Gentry, that's it. Thank you. Bailing me out as always. Thank you, Mark. Gentry Williams is a big-time prospect for the Hogs. They really want this kid. Oklahoma does too. I don't know if he's going to sign during the ESP, during the early signing period or not. Sounds like he's kind of rethinking some things. I think it's down between Arkansas, Oklahoma, and there's one other school that's in the picture. I'm not sure we even know who that is right now, but there is someone else out there in the shadows.
Looks like it might be USC.
It might. That's right. Yeah, USC was on him pretty early. Yeah, with his head coach going to USC, that makes sense. With the guy that with Lincoln Riley going to USC, that might be a part of it. We know Oklahoma's kind of been picked apart, and I could see that. But Arkansas was all over him pretty good, so that's probably. I guess if I had to bet, I'd probably see him going to USC.
Ty, at the age of 26, I left Ohio to take a job in Mississippi. I guess I just wasn't that savvy enough at the time. It never struck me as being a good career move to try to fake a Southern accent, but that's me. I just kind of like, this is who I am, take me or leave me. And people seem to be pretty accepting of that. You know, they were okay. They understood this guy doesn't talk like us. That's okay.
Yeah, you could always point out a northerner, I mean, being down here, born and raised in Fayetteville, and I definitely had teachers, that were from the north, and we'd give them grief a little bit, when they would say certain things that, they didn't have that southern twang to it, but it's no different than if a southern were to go up to the northeast or to the Rust Belt and have that carry that thick southern accent. People, you're going to catch some grief for it. That's just part of it. But to see him go down there and fake that accent like that, I don't know. He's had some questionable things in his career, like talking about what do you say about his players executing them or something after a loss or a close win early?
Yes, he was taking from a statement that John McKay, the USC Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach, made in the mid-'70s, that when he was asked about when he said, am I in favor of execution? Absolutely, I'm in favor of execution, and then relating that to, yes, you could execute all my players or something like that.
Yeah, he's had some questionable things, yes. But that is one that takes the cake, man. The fake accent was just, I had fun with that. We had fun with that in our PT and Discord on the live show. We had some pretty good fun with it. But no, I think he's going to do well down there. I don't know how well. I know Notre Dame kind of had, I don't want to call it a cupcake schedule, but it definitely wasn't the SEC West. So we'll see how he does down there. But hopefully Arkansas can nab away Welch from LSU. That would be a gigantic flip for the Hogs. They need some DBs. They need some guys to step up, and someone like Welch could come in and compete for the 2 deep, I think, pretty quick.
Ty Hudson, Pig Trail Network. Ty, is there anything else that's broken right or wrong for the Hogs in the last 24 to 48 hours?
I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. Certainly couldn't beat Treylon Burks foregoing the bowl game to enter to get prepared for the draft. Yeah, that was a pretty big blow. You got the Burks situation. That has completely altered how I look at the bowl game for Arkansas and Penn State. I know you and I are going to talk about that on another show, but that's going to have an impact. How could it not? I mean, you're talking about a monster of a wide receiver, and he was a huge chunk of that offense in 2021. Yeah, that was a pretty big one. But we'll see how they absorb that blow. They've got some other guys they're going to be able to rely on. Hopefully, Katron Jackson, 4-star wideout out of Texas, who's a true freshman. Warren Thompson, Florida State transfer, who at times this year was pretty reliable. And then he dropped a whole bunch of balls against U of A PB. I think he had like 3 drops in a single game. And he kind of struggled. They really couldn't find that number 2 receiver all year. And now they've lost wide receiver number 1. If I'm Penn State, I'm kind of licking my chops at the idea of that. But now you got to deal with one of the better run offenses in the country. So we'll see how Penn State manages to deal with a heavier workload. Probably would be my guess from the running backs and from KJ Jefferson. But yeah, Burks was. I'm trying to think, Mark, with all the stuff that's happened over the last 2 weeks. I feel like we're still reeling over this blowout loss against Oklahoma in a basketball game. Like I've been trying to figure that one out. And then of course we've got the typical recruiting stuff going on with signing day and everything. And now we have Burks who's going to not play in the Outback Bowl for the Hogs. So yeah, there's a lot that's happened. If I forget something, I apologize, but that was a pretty big blow. That was definitely newsworthy in the state of Arkansas for sure.
My assessment on Thompson is if you're going to drop passes, that's the game to drop him in. Just get him out of the way in that game.
That's very
You're going to win by 50 anyway, so go ahead and drop those passes. The thing that strikes me, Ty, about this recruiting class with 20 signed, 17th rated in the country with four 4-stars, according to 247 Sports, and 2 in the top 300. It's not an extremely top-heavy class. That means it's extremely deep. A lot of good players.
Yeah, several, like, and you have to do this when you're a Ole Miss, Tennessee, Arkansas. You kind of have to take a good deep look at some of these 3-stars and guys like Nico Davier, who's a 6'4", 6'4.5", 280-pound defensive lineman. That's going to be a guy that, I mean, depending on what happens, they've had some transfers actually today. They lost Andy Boykin, who's a 3-star from 2021 class. He's out, and you're probably going to lose Ridgeway, I would imagine, to the draft, who's transferred in from an FCS school. You like the opportunity of someone like that to come in and maybe make the 2 deep. Of course, he's going to have to battle with someone I like a lot in Cameron Ball. I think you and I actually talked about him last year or a while back. Manny Powell, so I watched Fayetteville. I got a chance to go watch Isaiah Santana, the #1 player in the state of Arkansas. He plays at my high school alum, Fayetteville High, here down the road. Got a chance to watch him. Manny Powell was on crutches. He had a blown ACL. I forgot what it was, a knee injury or whatever. But I was watching him hobble around, and I realized, crutches hold you up a little bit. They have him listed at 6'3". He looked like he was towering over some of the offensive linemen. He is all man. That kid, he looks like he's about 6'4.5", 6'5", probably 240. And you can see his definition through his – this kid just looks ready to go. Manny Powell was highly recruited. I say highly. On Arkansas's radar, someone they really wanted. And he moved down here from Ohio to come play at Fayetteville High to be closer to the university. He's someone that they really like. Now, I don't know how much of his injury – he's going to be here for spring camp. In fact, all their linebackers are going to be here during spring camp, which is huge for Arkansas when you consider how thin they are there. I hope he's able to participate to some degree in spring ball because I really want to see him in a Razorback jersey moving around. He's someone to keep an eye on for Hog fans. I don't know about 2022, but someone down the road, I think you're going to see him again, if he can stay healthy, you're going to see him participate quite a bit. Jordan Crook, another linebacker, people are really big on. I know that was a must-get for them. And then, of course, we already talked a little bit about Isaiah Santana, but they signed 2 4-star tackles in Andrew Chambly. I think it's pronounced it's Chambly or Chambly. I'm not really sure. I butcher names, Mark. That's what I do. But he's a big deal for this staff too. 4-star tackle, 6'6", 285, and then Marion Harris, who's 6'7", 370 out of Little Rock. Those are both in-state kids. They had to get them. But the story of this offseason, though, has been what they did at wide receiver. That's the highlight. You signed Centennia, who's a 4-star, Quincy McAdoo, who's a 4-star, and then you signed today, and I actually streamed his announcement, Samuel Bakke. It's pronounced Bakke, even though it looks like it's Bakke. It's just Bakke, no M. He was a 4-star. He dropped last week. This is a kid, again, another one they really wanted to get. On paper, arguably one of the best receiving classes. Oh, and then, by the way, you signed former 5-star Jaden Hazelwood from Oklahoma, who's coming in, who's going to be eligible right out the gate, for 2022. So the story of this offseason and recruiting has been what they've been able to do at wide receiver. And you get it. They're going to miss some pieces. Obviously, Burks being gone is a really big void for them. But wide receiver it's kind of the highlight of the year in the offseason for the Hogs. They did a great job of going out and doing what they needed to do to bring in some more horses at that position.
Right, Ty, as we run down this class, you've done a nice job of uncovering some of these guys under the radar. Anybody else you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys I really liked. Manny Powell, 4-star. Well, he's a 3-star. He did get a bump on 247. It wasn't enough to send him over the top to be a 4-star, but he got hurt at Fayetteville his senior year. Of course, he transferred from Ohio this year to come play at Fayetteville High to be a Purple Dog. Played, I think, in like 1 or 2 games. But a lot of media, a lot of people that I've been fortunate enough to talk to really like Manny Powell quite a bit. This is a guy, I mean, he looks, and I realize he was on crutches, but he looks, when I saw him in person, of course, he just had surgery, I believe. This was at the end of the year against Harbor, and who's a crosstown rival here in Springdale. Well, not really a rival, I shouldn't say that, but got a chance to watch him play in person. Him and not him, but Isaiah Santana. You got to watch him hobble around on the sidelines with the crutches. But he looks every bit the 6'3" they have him listed at. He just looks like he's ready to go. I'm sure he's getting tired of hobbling around as well. But hopefully he will be here during the spring. Hopefully we get a chance to look at him early. Jordan Crook, another linebacker. I really like the linebackers in this class, even though the receivers are the highlight part of this offseason. When you mentioned Jaden Hazelwood, who's transferring in from Oklahoma. But I like Caden Henley, the 3-star linebacker out of Shiloh Christian. Good-sized kid, 6'2.5", 230. Moves really well from sideline to sideline. Looks like he could fit Odom. All 3 of these linebackers look like they fit Odom's scheme to a T. So, no doubt in my mind, one of these 3, maybe 2 of these 3, have a shot at making the 2 or 3 deep year one, possibly. We know they're losing quite a bit of production there with the possibility of Bumper Pool coming back. But I really, the more we've had quite a bit of time to look these guys over. There's not one person that I look at and go, oh, he's easily the best player on this list. I don't know that I can do that this year. I like Centennia, the Fayetteville High kid, both the 4-star tackles. Quincy McAdoo, 6'2", 6'3", 175-pound wideout out of Clarendon, Arkansas. There's a lot of this is a pretty good class, and I realize you look at it, there's a lot of 3-stars. That's typical for Arkansas, but I think there's several of these kids who could make a case year one to be in the 2 deep. I think there's a couple here, at least 2 or 3, that could make a case to make the 2 deep at Arkansas year one for the 2022 season.
We've got an intriguing bowl matchup against Penn State. We've got about a month to go before it will be the deadline for early NFL draftees to announce. This transfer portal is nonstop. It's a 365 deal. And, of course, we'll get Ty here very soon to talk all that up. But in the meantime, head on over to Pig Trail Network to check out Ty's work covering Arkansas football and basketball, of course. Ty, we appreciate you being here as always, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for having me on.